In the unprecedented times of the 2020 pandemic, our country's digital divide became widely exposed, and the effects of increasing economic and digital inequalities became more apparent. As the founder and president of a technology firm, Ed Christmas questioned the reason for this, as well as the underrepresentation of Blacks in the field of technology and entrepreneurship. On this podcast, Ed Christmas talks with guests about what is their why and the road they are on to bring our society to a place of greater economic and digital equality while sharing the good news of those making a difference. Welcome to The Road to Why, presented through the partnership of Cisco and Sology Solutions, a proud member of the African American Cisco partner community.
Welcome to The Road to Why, where we highlight individuals and organizations that are making a difference and having an impact on our communities. I am your host, Ed Christmas, and I am pleased to have joined me here today two young brothers that are doing amazing things in the city of Dallas and are running for City Council, District 3 and District 8. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Zarin, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Ed.
And Erik?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well today. How about
Excellent. I appreciate you coming on, and I know we're in the thick of things because election officially starts. Early voting tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
So on this show, we're about trying to share with our audience some of the challenges we're faced in underserved communities. Mm-hmm. And with you two running for City Council for Dallas, I would like to have you spend a little time each in sharing your mission and vision for District 3 and District 8.
Sure. I can start. When I started 2 years ago, I ran on a mission. I'm running for re-election, and I ran on really two strategies. It's our district, our future. Our district is the defense. These are the things, our quality of life. These are the non-negotiables that we want to ensure are in place, remain in place, and continue to evolve to meet the needs of our district. So that's the defensive side of things. Mm-hmm. Our future is how can we bring tomorrow's amenities while protecting yesterday's character? So we can bring economic development, but we don't necessarily need to make it look like Frisco. Mm. We need to make it complement the character of Oak Cliff. So that's really my two strategies in terms of my vision for the district. This first term, we've done an exceptional job really shoring up our quality of life things. Now we're focusing on the economic development. I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Awesome. Erik?
Simply put, my vision for the district is to have you to understand that you have a representative for you, and that's for the entire district. Oftentimes, our leadership is focused on one particular area versus the entire district. Secondly, taking care of the most basic needs, making sure that it's clean, making sure that it's safe, making sure there's infrastructure there to where then when you come home, or it's a place to where you want to come home, you can walk around, you can live and play. And before we start getting into the big shiny things in the city, we want to just make sure we take care of the most basic needs. Do you have good streets? Are your streets good? Can you drive down without losing a tire? And so things like that.
No, that's amazing. And both of you, I read your mission and vision, and it's interesting reading the statistics of your two districts. There's a lot of similarities. If you talk about population, you're roughly a couple of thousand difference. If you talk about education, it's the same. And in your mission, you talk about some of the same vision for safety. You talk about safety. I think you talk about affordable housing. You talk about opportunities, making it a place where there is growth for individuals. The one you talked about, and I've been in Dallas about 28 years, and I've seen it from day one, infrastructure. We saw it during the pandemic where kids didn't have internet. So I ask you, this isn't a problem that's, just came here overnight. Since I've been here, it's here. Probably before that, you grew up here in Dallas, so it's always been here. What's going to change? Understand putting the right people in the position is the first step, but you have to have a city behind you. So, the question goes to both of you. Do you really think the city is a true stakeholder and wants to make a difference in your communities?
I think so, because you look at it from the standpoint of 80% of the most developable land is in southern Dallas. And to kind of put that in perspective, south of 30 is the size of Atlanta, Georgia. So you have that potential just on land itself, but also the idea of having leadership that's intentional about this. And you mentioned that we have similarities. It's a reason why we have similarities. Oak Cliff used to be its own city. Pleasant Grove used to be its own city. Kleberg Ride used to be its own city. So therefore, just because we're separated by imaginary boundary lines, the issues are still the same, and the infrastructures were always set in place for this to be a bedroom community. Oak Cliff, Pleasant Grove, you go into downtown to get all your resources. So that structure of like what we see, these office buildings, was never designed or never really a thought process to be in Oak Cliff. So therefore, we're limited in terms of what we can actually accomplish in terms of economic development and retail and how we grow and create new businesses.
Yeah, both of you, if I recall the stats, neither one of your districts have more than 2,000 businesses down there. So how do we bring business? When you talk about economic development, it's about providing livable wages to people down there. And all the businesses seem to go north. What is going to drive businesses to the south?
I think it's for me in District 3, and really, let me just back up too, because we've talked about this offline as well, and I'll talk about it to anybody, really, quite frankly, that'll listen. While I am representing District 3, I think it's very important to set the understanding that whomever is elected, it's important that districts 3, 4, and 8, in particular, not discounting 5 and 7, but for Southern Dallas and this Oak Cliff area, making sure that we are aligned in terms of making sure we have a vision for Southern Dallas as a whole, to ensure that the infrastructure, the economic development, the marketing, all of those things are being marketed Southern Dallas, not just one district. So that's one side of it. Two, it's really going around the district and saying, hey, these are assets. I'll use 2929 Southampton as an example where, in this case, the city saw that as a solution for homelessness. Well, that's an asset that could be added to the tax value, to the tax base within the city, simply by putting single family homes or townhomes and things like that on that property mixed with some retail. Now you're adding value and creating housing. So one, it's a matter of doing an assessment of our districts to ensure this is an asset, not a solution. That's first and foremost. And then once we do that, it's taken upon ourselves to really market our districts as well, and not just market District 3, but really marketing Southern Dallas as a whole, because whatever happens in 3, whatever happens in 4 is only going to benefit Southern Dallas. So it's really taking this collective approach. It's not just about District 3. It's, hey, I have these assets. What are those assets in District 8? And how can we collectively start driving people? I have Dallas Executive Airport. Mountain View College is moving a program in for aircraft maintenance and those things. That's an industry in and of itself. Well, now, how do I make Executive Airport an industry for aviation that creates these jobs, creates these livable wages, not just livable wages, but career paths that people can now afford to buy a home and live in Southern Dallas and have those amenities that they're looking for. So it's a collective approach to it. It's not just this single-minded District 3, because if District 3 benefits and District 8 or District 4 doesn't benefit, then it doesn't benefit Southern Dallas.
No, Eric, you said the city does see an opportunity for South Dallas. So the question I would have, how do you make sure we're included in that? You know, a lot of times when cities see an opportunity to move into a space, unfortunately, we move out or are forced out, whether taxes are increased, et cetera. So the jobs is a very important part. But how do we make sure that we're a part of that growth and can benefit from that land becoming valuable?
I would say it deals with alliances. You have to engage the community, not only homeowner association, but small businesses, medium-sized businesses, existing businesses, to let them know what's coming and what would they like and how they can be part of it. For the inland port, for example, we have a plethora of million-square-foot warehouses. What we don't have are small back offices. So if we were to design and build or push for the idea of having small, maybe 2-3-story commercial buildings, that's a commercial site, and you can take benefit of the existence of those warehouses you can put accounting, you can put marketing, you can put those back offices there, which will create opportunity for housing in the local area, which will create opportunity for retail. They got to eat. Right. So that's one of the things. But the biggest thing is reaching out to our community, our chambers, our HOAs, individuals, just telling anybody that will listen, getting in front of a camera, pushing that from the podium, from the horseshoe, and every community meeting, but engaging those individuals. What I've often done and encourage individuals that want to do development is before you put your money down for that piece of land, go talk to the community. Figure out what they want and what's needed and what they would like to see and how you can benefit, how you too can benefit, because the idea has to be a win for you, has to be a win for the community, has to be a win for the city of Dallas. If one of those is missing, then that's not a good product. So I want to make sure that you're not going into hostile territory, because you basically come in, bought it up, done what you're going to do, and then you just ask the community, well, what color do you want the shades? So right. that creates a bunch of animosity, disconnect. So again, you have to have that sometimes uncomfortable conversation about, hey, this is potential, and letting the community know, hey, you may not want this, but this is the effect of what happens if it doesn't come. You've asked for this, they want to bring it, you don't like it, so how do we bring something else?
I know a few colleges set up. I think UNT set up in South Dallas. Are there discussions with businesses? As a business owner myself, are there any incentives to bring businesses into the communities?
Yeah, I think we've been working to do that. I mean, you have TIF districts all over the place, but in fact, the Redbird Mall is a TIF district. It's a barbell TIF off of the Valley View Mall TIF. So that's one, and it's doing just that. You have, and not to jump in District 8, but you have it's across the street. But
I won't give you a chance to talk.
I know. I'm letting talk. But yeah, it's putting these things in place to ensure that they're incentivized. Number one. Number two, and again, it's just about the asset. For so long, Southern Dallas has been stigmatized as, again, I keep using this word solution. I don't want to make it a negative word, but it's not really been marketed as opportunity from that perspective. So right. I think just as we put these things in place, we're working on creating a public improvement district between District 3 and District 8 going down Camp Wisdom. Many of the business owners over there wanted public safety for their own business properties and things like that. This public improvement district creates funding for public safety and beautification. So those are the things, when you talk about retail and safety, people want to make sure it's beautiful and they want to make sure it's safe. Right. And we're in the process of doing that right now down Camp Wisdom. And this is an example that we can use to begin moving from shopping center to shopping center. Now,
Zarin, you're currently in the role in District 3.
Yes.
The incumbent. Erik, you were in the role years ago.
Yes.
And come back around. What's making you say, obviously, there's unfinished business and I need to get back in the game?
It's just that. It's unfinished business, much like with the pier that he just talked about, much like the development around Redbird Mall, much like the needed infrastructure off of Wheatland Road that now is spurring development around UNTD. Those are things that I started when I was in office, getting the access roads off of I-20 to ensure that Redbird Mall would be successful, so that the development that you have there now is a result of that. So there are plenty of things that I want to do, not just for the Redbird area, but again, like I said, for the entire district. We have an area that's left out, and I have southern part of Pleasant Grove that feels left out, and they have to deal with 3 council members to be able to get things done effectively. And then you have Cleburne Raleigh, which is our most eastern part, most rural area of the district. So they want to maintain the rural, but yet they want some modern amenities. So that's a challenge in terms of being able to get that done and making sure that the area is clean, because believe it or not, we've had probably 2 of the most biggest environmental issues within District 8, dealing with lane plating, which was a Superfund site, and then, of course, Shingle Mountain, which was another. But that is pragmatic of District 8 because of the vastness of it. The unincorporated area that it butts up against allows that to be possible.
Interesting. So when I look at your districts, like I said, there's a lot of similarities, but a few things stuck out besides lack of a lot of businesses, the education level. And when we talk about opportunities, I think both of you, you are roughly at 55%, 18 years of age and older. Only 55% of the population have a high school, and I think you were at 50. And when I say you, the district.
Right.
With that said, and what's going on at the state level in our school systems, how do we make sure our communities are going to lift those numbers up? And, that's probably a high-level question, but it's deep and it's real today.
I was going to say, District 8 is the education corridor. It is the only place in the city of Dallas where you have one of the top-notch high schools, Kathleen Gilliam, you have Carter, you have Wilma Hutchins. You also have Cedar Valley, which is in District 8. To let you know, Cedar Valley is in District 8. It is not in Lancaster. And then you have Paul Quinn College, UNT Dallas, and then you have Jarvis at Redbird. So I have 2 HBCUs, a state college, a junior college, fantastic high schools. I consider District 8 the smartest district in the city of Dallas.
And I volunteered at Carter, but I didn't know all the other schools were in that area. So there's no reason why. Carter's a great school. We did some mentorship there for technology in partnership with Cisco. So education is becoming key. And I'm going to bring up a name that both of you know, Tammy Pierce, who's the president of United Black Contractors. I know she does a lot of initiatives to get us young people involved in trades.
Yes.
So that's something Tammy and I talk about. How do we get trades back into the schools? Because, going to college isn't always an option. And if you look at the statistics of college in your same districts, the numbers even get worse. So I think it's time for us to focus back on the trades, the electricians, the plumbers, the technology.
And that's exactly why I was bringing up. Again, college is an option, but it's not always the option. And then these days, that debt, graduating with that debt, depending on how long it takes you to, the payoff, the return may not necessarily be there. I know DISD are creating these Career Institute colleges or schools where kids can go. I think they just opened one up in Southern Dallas. The first one was in North Dallas, but it's a career institute where they can learn construction, plumbing, air conditioning, and all of these things where you can go. I think there was a kid that graduated, and by the time he graduated high school, he was already making it was either $60,000 or $80,000 because he went through that AC apprenticeship program or something. So it's getting our kids connected to those opportunities, but getting them connected at an earlier age as well. I mean, with the amount of youth violence that we have going on, for me, it's a push to try to get these kids engaged, exposed. Exposure. I don't care if it's an arborist or whatever the case may be, but just getting them exposed to these opportunities, which is why I'm pushing, this aviation. Again, I don't have many regrets, but my mom was an aircraft mechanic, and she was one of the only black women that was an aircraft mechanic on the Air Force base, and she taught us etiquette in the NCO club, right? And I grew up around that, but I never did go to the Air Force base, and go to the Air Force. But I just think there's opportunities, whether it's the Air Force or just that industry, getting them exposed to it and really showing them just what those opportunities, real life, practical opportunities, so that they understand this is not a waste of time.
Right.
This is leading you down something that's going to create a tremendous opportunity for you.
I agree.
I think as a former educator, I always, raising 3 sons, I always push, college was always an option. If you didn't go to college, maybe military, and this is what I taught my students. And then the third and fourth option, which they really don't hear about, is okay, go to high school, get a job, work for someone's job. But the fourth one that we really don't push, entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Really big on entrepreneurship. And I would tell students, some of you all don't need to work for someone. You have the mindset and ability to be able to start your own. Do it yourself. So that one needs to be pushed in terms of that goes back to the trade. Because when your lights go out, your plumbing go out, much like a technician, you don't have 13 hours for somebody to fly overseas to fix your plumbing or your electrical. They're making 6 figures now. Right. And it's the same thing that I saw when I used to work in the technology corridor in Richardson, where we had students that was in Richardson, they would go across 75, work at Fossil, make $80,000 just for a certification. Well, the same thing can be true now. You can get your apprenticeship, your plumber, electrician, and you can come out and start your own business, make as much money as you want to, and you don't have to worry about someone telling you what to do. So that's the thing about entrepreneurship. So that's why I was instrumental in bringing the deck to Redbird Mall. entrepreneurship to UNTD, Paul Quinn College, just really pushing entrepreneurship because there are a lot of individuals that have the talent, have the ability to be able to do that. And I commend Tammy for what she's doing. That's just right up my alley in terms of making sure the individuals are self-sufficient and be able to take care of themselves.
And Zarin, you said it best, exposure. We, and when I say we as leaders have to make sure our kids are getting exposed to these opportunities, to how do you become an entrepreneur? How do you get financing? Because once you get in entrepreneurship, you got a whole nother challenge. Financing and all of that and getting through that loophole. And then you got to deal with customers. And when I say customers, whether dealing with city or county, and I'm going to come back to the city because we have two very important projects going on in the city right now. One is the City of Dallas Convention Center project, which is close to, I think it's a little over $3 billion. And then the upcoming project in the county is the county jail. And it's kind of sad to say, but people are excited about getting a jail. And I don't hear much excitement about education, but I do hear excitement about the new jail. So when you have projects like that, again, the question is, how do we make sure that our youth are a part of it, whether it's a plumber or electrician? And that's the battle that Tammy's faced with the United Black Contractors. But we have the same issue with regional Hispanic contractors. They're fighting for their share. But it seems like we are always shortchanged. And if you look at the statistics in your district, it's clear that we're shortchanged. What's your view on that? And how do we change that?
Yeah, I think we definitely have a lot of opportunity. I'm really proud about, the convention center in particular. I think it was a historic in terms of the amount of, in particular, Black African-American participation on that contract. So that's one. And that what comes from years and years and years of advocating, trying to get folks there and saying, hey, we have folks that are capable. So that's number one, is getting them at the table. Then the second part of that is getting them to bring other folks to the table so that we can all eat, essentially. Right. And that's the challenge in some cases is once you get there, making sure that you're creating that pathway, not just for other minority and women-owned businesses, but also for the youth, also for those returning from prison. Looking, I know a lot of businesses, second chances, a lot of businesses in that space are creating those opportunities. So again, understanding the cost of not having them participate is where I focus, because that's where those opportunities are missed, not just for the youth, but even for those returning. And then many times it's those owners, the contractors that have been in position that can create those spaces for us. So we've really got to do a better job of doing business with each other more as well.
Agree.
But also in this role, advocating for minority businesses and particularly African-American owned businesses to get in position and make sure they are equipped and prepared to do
exactly right.
Two quick things. When I was on council, one of the things I met weekly with Councilman Zarin and challenged the city on improving African-American participation in contracts and identifying what contracts we were not going after, who we didn't have in it, and why we weren't increasing those numbers. Secondly, I have a bright, shiny beacon example of what you're talking about exactly. If you're familiar with the Starbucks or Redbird.
Oh, yeah.
That it is a blessing and a curse if you don't know the history behind it. It was one of Starbucks' five city corporate social responsibility locations where that they went into areas that had low minority participation, low graduation rate, and low socioeconomics. So they picked their location, they fully funded it, and said that it had to, in order for it to be built, it had to be fully minority contracted from breaking ground to landscaping, from beginning to finish to end. Also, it's the only location in the city of Dallas that has a community room. And that was the other aspect of it. That's free. Individuals can go rent there, drink your coffee, have your meetings. But that is a bright, shiny example of what the city of Dallas was not doing. My goal, my vision for District 8, or for the city of Dallas, is to never have one of those built again. That's my goal.
And you left out that Starbucks, I think, is one of the top performers.
It is one of the top performers in the area, yes.
And Starbucks also was hesitant on doing it initially because they were like, it doesn't meet our model. So again, the model was slightly broken. I want to have the audience spend a little time to get to know both of you again. From what I've read on both of you, you have similar backgrounds as far as what's important. On this show, we talk about the road to why, what that journey was like. And you guys are both doing some great things, but I'd like both of you to take a little time sharing, how do you think you got here? What was that? I know family was important, ministry was important. You've seen struggles in Dallas, so just share with the audience if you don't mind, Zarin.
Yeah, just really quickly. I spent 16 years doing working for the city of Dallas for 16 years, and everything from the controller's office to budget to economic development, and that really started shaping my desire and my heart for service. Though I didn't know it, I was just in finance at the time. But it over time evolved, got into ministry, kind of confirmed, did a couple of mission trips, and really found my calling in service from there. So I continued to evolve through working for the city and serving at my church, Concord, for years in different leadership roles. And eventually, so while working at the city, I got, I guess, would say burnout, I guess. And
you were in planning.
I was at that time, I was in economic development, but that was, again, 16 years. And I just got burnt out. I left and went into ministry full time, became executive pastor at Concord Church. And through that time serving at the church, didn't realize I was being prepared for this role here. So again, it was more of an evolution that I wasn't aware of until about 3 or 4 years ago.
Got it. Erik?
Mine just dealt with, and go back to the word exposure. Having grown up in a household where we didn't have running water, we'd have to go late at night across the street to steal water from, borrow water from my neighbor. And a home where we moved around a lot, never really stable. But I got a chance to be exposed to middle income, exposed to upper middle income, and then coming back to my condition where I did not have. So I had a natural desire to be able to say there's more I can do. Having grown up in Highland Hills and seen the conditions when I was younger, and then when I went off to school, UT Arlington, graduated, moved around, came back, got married, moved back to Oak Cliff, and realized it was still in the same condition it was before.
Wow.
And asked them the question, who's responsible for this?
Right.
And they said, you're city councilman. And I was like, okay, cool. That's who's that person? Yeah, who's that person? That's what I want to do. So I set out to make sure that if anything that I do, and I look at it from the standpoint from birth date to death date, but making sure that my dash in life leaves a purpose, that I leave this earth better than it was when I got it or when I came through, and that I made it easier for the people that's coming behind me. So my purpose is to make sure that no one has to grow up and go through the trials and tribulations that I had to go through without the assistance and without someone giving back, without someone mentoring, and give that back to someone who's up and coming, who may not know they need it, or someone who needs and is looking for it.
I commend both of you guys. I just want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One, our young black males, they are the ones we got to put the focus on. So we got to figure out programs that gets them engaged, like you said, exposure, visibility. We're sitting around here and we're a statistic because we've made it this far.
Yeah.
There's a lot that aren't making it that far. And like I said, we're focused on building jails, basically, where we're going to put them. But with all of that said, I commend both of you for what you're doing. I'll start with you, Zarin. Just closing out, is there any comments you want to leave the audience? Look in the camera and share your message.
I am Zarin Gracey. I'm running for re-election. We've been able to accomplish a lot of things during this first term, and we have a lot of momentum going. I'm going to encourage you, first and foremost, exercise your right to vote. People overlook the local level, but I was saying this earlier, the local level is our last line of defense. So whether you're voting for me or you're voting for whomever in whatever district you live in, please show up and vote and make your voice be heard. If you're in District 3, I'm asking you to vote for me, Zarin Gracey. I'm number 3 on the ballot.
Thank you, Zarin. Erik?
Again, hi. Honorable Erik Wilson, I'm number 1 on the ballot. I'm the number 1 candidate with experience and number 1 candidate with proven leadership. I've been in the role. I don't have to get ready. I'm ready day one. You've seen the results that I've done just in the time period that I was there. And there's so much more that we can do together, that we're going to do together. I'm just asking for your support. You don't have to look any further. I'm number 1 on the ballot. You don't have to guess where I'm at. I will be where I will be at the top of the ballot waiting on you so that we can continue doing the great things in District 8 from Redbird to Clearbrook Raleigh. I'm asking for your support. Erik Wilson, number 1 on the ballot, ready day 1.
Hey, brothers, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
My audience, I hope this was helpful. Again, our message is to share with you some of the challenges our communities face. I ask that you get out and vote and give these brothers a chance. And as always, be blessed. Till next time.